Rick Elias was a passenger on United U.S. Airways Flight 1549 on January 15, 2009. This was a regular commuter flight from LaGuardia Airport to Charlotte, North Carolina. A flight this man had taken many times. Some of you may remember the flight that I'm referring to. This was the flight where a flock of Canadian geese collided with the jet, instantly sending the engine into a ball of flames. Rick Elias was sitting in seat 1D, right up in the front. So much for flying first class. He describes the scene vividly in a TED Talk that he gave on March 11th, 2011. He felt the sudden bolt of the jet. He saw the red and orange flames out the side window. And he heard the pilot say 3 words: brace for impact. In those few moments, one thought passed through his mind. I'm going to die today. As that thought passed through his mind, and he saw the jet nose down, going straight for the water, he realized he wasn't afraid. He had this profound realization. He was not afraid of dying. But the overwhelming feeling that he had, the overwhelming emotion that he felt, was sadness, not fear. He felt overwhelming sadness. Sadness and regret. Sadness about all the things he hadn't done, all the things he had meant to do, all the things he planned to do some point in the future. And he felt regret about all the relationships in his life that were not right, all the mistakes he'd made, and the forgiveness that he had not offered, the reconciliation of relationships that had never been accomplished. He wasn't afraid. He was only sad. But then, heroically, the pilot landed the plane on the Hudson River. It was an unbelievable miracle. But Rick Elias didn't just regard his saved life as the single miracle of this experience. Oh no. He said that the second miracle, and the most important miracle, was that he was given an opportunity to live life differently, to change the way he had been living. He was given another chance to do it in a different way, to cherish every moment of every day, focus on the relationships in his life that really matter. He was changed. He shares that a month after this experience, he had gone to see his 6-year-old daughter's theater show, and he said he never really went to them before because he never had time. He was always working, but he went to this theater performance, and he said, it wasn't great, acting. I mean, there was a lot of talent up on that stage, but he was so moved to see her there and to be in this place and to take this time to share with her that he wept the entire time. And it wasn't even a sad play. But he knew in his heart that he was right where he should be. Brace for impact. holiest days of the church year tonight. And it is important for us to remember how we began this night, what we did, why we did it, why we will do the various things that we will do in just a little while, why we are here for this particular service on this particular night with these particular lessons from the scriptures. Because the cross still looms in the distance. The tomb has not yet been identified. No one has died yet. There are no stones to roll away. Or might there be some stones to roll away tonight? Tonight is about reconciliation. We begin this service every year, year after year after year, with reconciliation, being reconciled with God, coming to God with humble hearts, facing the realities of our lives and how we are not right with God, even after all these days of Lent. We bow low before God, imploring God to see us, to hear us, to give us the forgiveness that we don't deserve, but we so desperately need. But it doesn't stop there. The reconciliation that we've received with God tonight is just the beginning of the great story. We receive this holy forgiveness so that we can turn and share that forgiveness in the world. That we can do our own spiritual inventory of the relationships in our lives that need help, that need mending, that need reconciliation. If we keep it for ourselves, the power, the fullness of this ritual is lost to us. Maybe the theme for tonight should be something like embrace for impact. Forgiveness and reconciliation change everything. That's what they're supposed to do. So tonight, after we've experienced reconciliation with God, we were just given the opportunity to experience reconciliation with one another. What we do here when we pass the peace is more than just an intermission in the middle of the service. Truly, it has a liturgical function, which is that before we come to the altar, we are reconciled one with another. And the passing of the peace has not always been the favorite thing for people to do. In fact, in our denomination, the Lutheran Church, in 1978, when our green hymnal was published, the passing of the peace found its way into the formal liturgy. And that was the controversy of the day. People were incensed that they were expected to turn and speak to one another, to actually reach out and touch someone else. But the peace is about reconciliation of relationship, taking this forgiveness that we have received from God, something that is such a precious gift, and then turning and sharing that metaphorically here with one another, representing all the relationships in the world that need help. So after this piece, after my words, my few words, we will come forward to wash feet. Jesus has already done this for us, and we are called to do this for each other. Yes, it's a physical call. Yes, it might seem kind of dirty, but that's why we do it. We stoop low for one another, entering into the muck of human life, just as Jesus stooped low for us and walks every day through the complicated muck of our lives. But the beauty of this ritual is that we don't stay down. Jesus rises, and we rise with him. Jesus stands, and we stand with him. We go from the muck of dirty feet and the action of caring for each other to a table where Jesus has set a place for each of us. You can look for your name on the placard because it is there. This is the only table that I know of anywhere in the universe where everyone has a place with their name on it. This, and this, and this, these are expressions of the church at its very best. A table where everyone has a place, where all are deemed equal in the sight of God. Now we hear a lot these days, or at least we clergy types do, about the nuns. Not the N-U-N-S, but the N-O-N-E-S, the nuns who claim no religious affiliation when they're asked these questions on large-scale general social surveys conducted in the United States every 10 years. So the most recent GSS shows this increase in the nuns. No religious affiliation. They see the church as irrelevant, giving answers to questions that they aren't asking, disconnected from the realities of their daily lives, the real issues of this life, this earth, all of the things that we know globally that are so troubling to us. The nuns see the church as being completely out of the game when it comes to what really matters. I fear that the nuns have never experienced the church at its very best, and what the church can be, what the church is called to be, why any of this matters. I've been watching some of the news coming out of the marriage equality hearings going on in Washington. One politician who recently changed his position to being in favor of marriage equality said, the only justification the anti-marriage equality people give is to thump the Bible. Odd. Because when I thump the Bible, I hear and see things that are very different. When I thump the Bible, I see Jesus stooping low for me and for you, to wash the feet of one who would betray him, and he seemed to know it. I see Jesus giving another chance to the one who would deny him again and again and again. I see Jesus reaching out and saying, stand up. Yes, stand up. There is a place for you at my table. The Bible I love says that reconciliation of relationships is one of our greatest callings, and standing up for justice for all people is a holy endeavor. The God I worship blesses love and lifelong committed relationships where people are courageous enough to commit themselves, body, mind, and soul, to be with one they love for all of life. The Bible I cherish tells me that this God made known to us in Jesus, wants deeply to be reconciled with us, and we to God. This God is the one who calls me to work in this world for justice for all people. A holy calling this is. How can we, being the church at its very best, show the nuns that there's hope and life and engagement and power in the church at its very best? Brace for impact. If the church comes alive with justice and mercy and compassion and care for people, things will change. We have entered a holy story, one where when we emerge on the other side, we won't be the same. For death will not have the final word. The one who dies with the most toys will not be the winner. Jesus, our Savior, stoops low for us tonight, and we are called to stoop with him. But then, we rise to be agents of active reconciliation in all of the world. People who work tirelessly for justice for all people, justice work in the world. Brace for impact, church. For these are powerful days that we are in.